Looking for the latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah, we've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
All right, let's get it. Hans and Scotty, hour number 2 of the program. Hans doing a little vacationing. He's in Boston, of all places. He said he was going to check in. Lloyd, I don't think he's checking in. I'm not buying that. I think that guy's in Fenway having himself a couple of hot dogs and sitting back and watch a little baseball. So we'll catch up with the Hands coming up next week. But the man, the myth, the legend, you know him, you love him. It's Craig Bolerjack right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Bowler, how are you?
Scotty, I'm good. Hans, I bet you is. I'm going to say six Frankfurters in.
Yeah, I think. Have you been to Fenway? I've never been.
I have. Yeah, it's magical. You got to go. The Green Monster. You got to go to Wrigley. There's just a couple of ballparks that are the old style that still resonates with, what would you call it, history, right? Which is a good thing. And boy, a lot of great ball games, a lot of great games played. Yeah,
no doubt. And a crazy fan base, but, Hans will fit in.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Hans will just blend right on in.
Hey, all right, so I don't know where you were when the lottery balls did not go the way of the Utah Jazz, but how disappointing was that night for you?
Well, Scotty, I was sitting right here in my office, and I just sit there and kind of put my hands, underneath my chin, going, okay, here you go. And boom, over 5.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, reflecting back, look, it was a difficult year. Everyone knew the score, 17 wins. And you hoped that all that would have a payoff. And, you had 14% chance across the top 3 to get the pick. But you had nearly, 50% chance of being a top 5. So to run with numbers tell you that you're going to have a 5 spot in the whole thing. But everyone was hoping this would change. The Jazz have not had great luck in the lottery. Will this be the year? And what do you know? A team that trades Luka and loses Kyrie to an ACL, and they almost have a riot within their fan base in Dallas, just somehow with a 1.8% chance is going to take Cooper. Yeah. And then San Antonio, who has had multiple luck, multiple number ones, by the way, and they're number 2. It's frustrating. It really is, because I know what the Jazz went through this year to try to develop, but also tell the fan base what they're trying to do. And from this point on, I don't know really if they go back to the same program, the same plan, if they reprogram. I'm a fan. This is just me. I love, watching teams win. And that's what I know. And that's old school. I get it. I'm not, I'd say the lottery is still taking chances. There's no guarantee. And so you have to be prepared, obviously, as a ownership group and a fan base, to understand that if that doesn't happen, then you live with the results. And that's where the Jazz are right now. And what direction they go, how aggressive Danny is on draft night. You've got plenty of picks to make moves. Does he use them, and in what way? And are the Jazz going to be any type of player in free agency, or are they going to make trades to bring in guys that they want? And are they going to give up assets to gain assets that they think will prove stronger in the end? I don't know, but it's the worst case scenario in some regards, because I think the hype comes along with that, and the hype dies off, and then you go, wow, what's next? And so it'll be interesting to see what the plan will be, Scotty. It really is.
It's really interesting, too, because you look at what the Jazz have available to them, and they're sitting on, a treasure, trove of assets and picks and things like that. But it's not enough to jump up to 1. It's probably not enough to jump up to 2. And then at 3, is it really worth jumping up that much? And so and then you have to ask yourself, are we going to put a fan base through this again which
Right.
I think they probably will. It seems like that's what's in the cards for next year to probably go the young and development path again. But, this Jazz fan base can only handle so much of that.
It's a great point. And it has to be part of the equation when you write it down to say, okay, what direction we go? East, west, north, south. I mean, do you let the young guys play? And do you make trades and put the veterans out there and get the best for what you can? Do you gather more picks for down the road, Scotty? Again, we always joke, but truly, it's out of the pay scale of what you and I do, and that's what Danny has done in the past. Justin alongside, and they signed Will, through what 30-31. So he understands obviously what could have happened, and it did. It's disappointing. There's no doubt. Downtown is growing. They've got a plan for, Delta Center. They got plans for hockey. Hockey jumped in. There's the luck. They got the 4 spot, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it isn't discussed a lot, but when you have the same owner with 2 major franchises in town, you can't let one slip away and then one dominate. Sometimes it happens just, in the sense of contracts and age of players and injuries or whatever it may be. But it's always been the Jazz in town, right? And now you have the Mammoth. Almost said Utah Hockey Club, but
I know,
myself.
same, yeah.
But it's interesting to see how you balance that. It's never been done before, and I think it's really intriguing to see again what ownership will do. The arena is undergoing massive facelifts over the next 3 seasons. Off seasons, that is, to make the view for hockey, high level, and also still give Delta Center the advantage that the Jazz have always had since Larry built it back in 91. So I tell you, it's a tough position to be in. It didn't go their way, so the test will be, Scotty, what direction they go and how open. I think they have to be open to the fan base to let them know what they're going to do. They've got some talent, and you got to let them grow. You've got a few, I'm sure, you've looked at now and say, not going to work. You move on. You get what you can in return. Or you be really aggressive. And, Scotty, you said, do you try to jump and make a deal to get a top 3 pick? Harper, Bailey, and, of course, I don't think Dallas is letting go of anything with Cooper Flagg after what that franchise barely survived. So it's going to be really, a testament and a test, of what Jazz fans, what they can handle, and also what Danny and Ryan are going to do, and how Justin, approaches it as well. And also, how did the players get impacted on this, Scotty? I think they all were pros. I really do. I was around them, not 24/7, but, man, a lot. And, you can lose a team under situations like this. And I got to give Will a lot of credit, man. He kept the fight going, the intrigue going. He challenged them to be better NBA players. They know that there's no guarantee every year in this league if you're going to make a roster or not. And it goes back to the old adage of Jerry Sloan saying that you're always auditioning for a job. And in truth, you are. And maybe not as so much as this year as it comes out to play. There may be some guys looking for a job. So, again, I just sat back and I was disappointed. I could almost hear the whole sigh through the valley, but it is what it is. You've got to make aggressive decisions, and they have to be right ones, because you don't want to take another step back in the sense of this probably, and again, I'm no statistician, but if you look at having Cooper, Scotty, I would think it pushes you ahead, right? You would agree, right? You get pushed ahead. And now without him, you stay put, but now it's up to you as an organization. Are you going to do something to try to push it along, or do you sit back and just say, okay, we're idle and we're going to continue to see how this plays out? And again, there's no guarantee. I don't care if you come in with 15 wins next year. You can still up being a 5 spot, in the draft, or 4. So, it's you're rolling the dice. The NBA didn't make it easy. NFL, if you're the worst team in the league, you get the number one pick. Not the case in the association. So, man, I tell you, it's a tough path and some tough decisions to be made.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And that's the thing. David Locke and I we didn't get in an argument, but he's like, look,
Sure you did. Sure you did.
We got it a little bit one, but it was, and his point, and it's 100% true, is that even if you get number one, you get Cooper Flagg. The Spurs have had Victor for a couple of years, and they still haven't made the playoffs. But yet, we all know what direction they're going. We know that it's only a matter of time with a generational player like Wembanyama. We just get that. With the Jazz, okay, yeah, even if they got Cooper Flagg, they're not going to the playoffs next year, and they may not go to the playoffs in 2 years. But at least you have that I don't know, that George Bush beacon of light, if you will, like that. Okay,
right.
You know what? We got this player that we build around, and we're building towards something. Here, it just feels like, okay, you're still looking for that light. You're still looking for that, that thing to build around that you just don't have right now.
All true. Victor is a phenom. And I think it proves that you do have to put the right pieces together, right, to complement his talent level. Look what LeBron and every team who's had him play, Cleveland twice, Miami. Look at the Lakers. I mean, they're probably scratching their head too. There's a day very soon, and the Golden State Warriors are facing this as well. What direction do we go? Because without those names of Steph Curry or LA and LeBron. I mean, they made the move to get Luka. How solid is that, Scotty, in all terms?
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
How solid is that decision that kind of a backdoor meeting sends AD to Dallas and Luka to LA with no one else really in the mix, and then everything else has come down. It makes people wonder how this happens. I mean, that's just normal sports fans, right, who go, wow, how do you get a 1.8% chance and to get the number one pick and actually land it after you lose Luka in a deal that kind of was done in the dead of night, and you lose Kyrie to an ACL tear.
Yeah.
Yep. It makes you wonder. But, boy, there's some good players out there. And someone asked me the other day, does this put the Jazz behind the eight ball for how long? And I said, you know what? Look, there's always players out there that surprise you. And I keep bringing up a guy named Nikola Jokic, the best second-round pick of all time, 41. Yep. And he turns a franchise around now for, nearly 10 years? But he also has the pieces. Last night they survive, and they win. And they go on to Game 7 to play another day against OKC in Oklahoma City. That's what Jazz fans love. I tell you, the losing part isn't fun, Scotty, but the bottom line is you want to be competitive. And I just wonder if the Jazz make a decision to put these young guys on the floor, and they can win more than 17. I really believe that. Now, could they maybe bump into a playoff position as they play in? Maybe. Does that excite Jazz fans, or are they willing, and the franchise, just to say we're going to wait a while? I don't have an answer to that. I do hear fans saying, "Boy, this was a tough season, but we get what the Jazz are doing," and I think that's the biggest thing. How will they respond to the disappointment of Cooper not being there? And to me, that's the unknown, and we're going to get an answer, in the next month or so.
Yeah. The question is, too, and you're around him, it's a weird spot for Lauri Markkanen to be in because, he's at 28, 29, and he's at a point now where, the money's been great, and I'm set for life. I want to go out and win. I want to know what it's like to win and play in a playoff in a 7-game series. I want to know what that is all about, and he's not getting that and won't be getting that for the foreseeable future, and it's just a weird spot for him to be in and for the Jazz to put him in. And frankly, I don't know if I would anticipate him being on the roster next year just because as a favor to him and for the future development of the team, maybe he's not a great fit for the Jazz right now.
Yeah, no, I tell you, age becomes a factor as players become younger. jumping after 1 year. Cooper, just turning 18 coming up in the fall? Am I right?
Yep.
It's the youth, I think, is the frustrating part. You see talent, but are you going to invest, and then in year 5, you lose that investment because you're not at where you want to be? Marketing has stated he wants to be here. That's why he signed. Look, I get it. The money's good. But if you're Scotty, if you're even good, if you're going to want to be great, why are you great? Well, you have the skill set, but you also have the most innate drive to win and conquer your opponent than most. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle here. I don't think setting, I get it. That means you're out tonight and we're going to let the young guys play. But how long does that play into a veteran's mindset? Look, the money's good, but, man, I'm here to do another thing, and that's to win. And they also have to chisel in a bit of their legacy as well. That's just human nature. That's for every player in this league, not just the Jazz. And so I think that's where decisions have to be made with agents, and a player has to say stay or go or work out something that is advantageous for both parties. I don't have that answer, but I think it's a good conversation to have because this has to change, I would think. And I don't know what Locke told you, but I would think, even though Laurie loves Salt Lake and he's made that announcement multiple times, you still have to wonder, how does he fit, in the long term? And the long term, really, we're talking the next 3 years. And by that time, he jumps into the 30-year range. And you know what? The Jazz are playing 20-year-olds. And, how does that play? I don't know. Teams that are still alive in this run to the title is basically, Scotty, they have a blend of both, right? And some are aging, and some have shown that age with injury. I felt bad for Tatum. But you could tell exactly what happened. It's the same thing that happened to Felton Spencer and Mehmet Okur for the Jazz. They both told me, man, who hit me? Who tripped me? No one. It just let go. And that's what happens of years and years of cutting and planning and the miles on your legs, and ankles and hips and what have you. So, there's no guarantees. And I think the Jazz are in that kind of position now to make some major decisions with this. And isn't it crazy that just one night in time, one moment in time can really change the direction of one franchise in the NBA?
Yeah.
And how it can change, obviously, another, and that's the Dallas Mavericks, who thought basically their franchise was going to be 5 years behind, and now maybe they jump ahead, right, because of youth and a great talent. It's almost like a made for what is it, a script you can't write.
Yeah, you can't write that one.
No, you can't. You cannot write this, and it did happen. And, we'll see what the outcome is.
Are you prepared for a Pacer-Timberwolf NBA final?
Well, I don't know if the networks are, but
I know, right?
It could happen. I thought OKC was the best team I saw all year, Scotty. Defensively tough and deep. They've shown a little bit of inconsistency last night. They couldn't get to the free throw line, and that's what Denver does. With a guy named Jokic. It could happen. To lose Game 7 on your home floor would kind of shock the world. But, with the injury to Tatum, you got to give Boston credit just for hanging in there. But it could happen. Indiana has shown us something we didn't know: depth, youth, attitude, coaching, kind of quiet assassins. If you right? It's been interesting in Minnesota. They got the ant. They've got a very old but potent point guard in Mike Conley that Jazz fans know. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's developed. Rudy's had moments. That's the beauty of just playing the game. Because you could always write it out and say I'm an expert, but in reality you have to see how it turns out. Because players are going to decide this thing. And it's the same way for the Jazz. In this case, off the floor, Dennis, you got me. Justin and Danny obviously are going to make those decisions, but when you're on the floor and those guys are playing, you really see they shine through on who they are. and how mentally tough they are and how bad they want it. And I think that's the whole difference between regular season, Scotty, and playoffs. You see it, I see it, fans see it. There's been a whole different level of play. And I like the physicality. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I like to see guys get fired up because you know what? It still tells me they love the game. And sometimes you wonder that on certain nights in professional athletics.
Bowler, you're the best, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us. And, you can only mow the lawn so many times. You staying busy?
Well, now, yeah, man, I got allergies. I tell you, it's right. It's been killing me the last 2 days. But it rained. I don't get it. Maybe it's something out in front of my yard. I'm going to have to get rid of. But yeah, I got the allergy. But it hits me a couple of times this summer, and for some reason, it got me today.
That's no bueno.
No, you know what? What do you do, Scotty? You play
you play through it. Rub a little dirt on it and get after it.
That's right, man. What's my big fat Greek wedding? What did the dad use? Windex. Yeah. Put some Windex on it.
Put some Windex on it, tape an aspirin to it, and you'll be fine. Let's go.
And you'll be fine. Yeah. Yep. Maybe the bone may be sticking out, but you'll be good. Yeah. You'll be good.
No, that hasn't really applied to this generation, but that's all right.
No, it hasn't. How you holding up without your co-pilot, man?
We're doing good. Look, those are big size 15s we have to fill. And so that's why Lloyd does me a favor and just books anybody and everybody. So he's like, we know you can't handle it by yourself. And I'm like, you're right, Lloyd. And then we're like, all right, so let's bring in the cavalry.
And by the way, Bowler, you are not anybody or everybody. You're Bowler.
No. Friday, no.
You're
Friday,
Ed,
man.
this is your Friday slot.
I'm glad. Yeah, I like coming in on the Fridays. I didn't know Hans was out of town, but I just thought it was really cool to see his message on Twitter to his son. That's pretty cool. They've got a great relationship, and I tell you, are those guys like twins, but were born 20-some years apart? I mean, what's going on there?
I mean, if they were twins, Rock definitely got more of the nutrients than Hans did because he's towering over Hans and outweighs him probably by about 60 pounds now.
Isn't that amazing?
Hans is not a small human being, and when he stands next to Rock, it's scary. So, you imagine.
I thought it was cool. That's a great combination of dad and son.
Imagine Rock knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, I got a message I'd like to share with you." And you're like, whatever you want. You want to baptize me right here? Let's go. I'm happy. Just don't break anything.
For? You want to eat some dinner first, and then we'll talk, or what's the deal here? Yeah. No, he will be a presence at the front porch when the doorbell rings. That's for sure.
No doubt. Hey, I appreciate it, Bull. You're the best, man. Thanks.
Talk soon, buddy. Take care.
All right, we'll see you. There you go. The great Craig Bolerjack right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.